and you think that I'm gonna send you money because you lost your job? Oh my God, welcome to the real world, sweetheart. People lose their jobs every fucking day. Why would I fucking help you?
It's giving those who don't work shall not eat. Guys, how do we all become so selfish? Okay, so recently our Jamie boy here came on the internet to express his anger and outrage because a woman who lost her job came to him for help. She basically shared her GoFundMe link with Jamie Boy, told him that the airline she was working for went bankrupt, she lost her job, and would mean a lot to her if James could donate. Of course, if he wanted to. To this, Jamie Boy threw this whole tantrum coming on the internet being like, why the fuck do you think I'll help you? Just get a new job, babe. It's the real world out there. You need to work for it. And oh my god. Okay, Jamie Boy, first off, I don't need influencers like you who get so much free stuff all the time, who get sponsored vacations all the time, to tell me how tough it is in the real world, to tell me how everyone is suffering. Secondly, though, in his rant, there's this point where Jamie Boy says something like, take your GoFundMe somewhere else.
17,000 people lost their jobs at Spirit Airlines. Why do you think you need the GoFundMe?
Which reminded me of this Reddit post that I saw last year and a topic that I really want to talk about. You know how rich people feel robbed when they take out some amount of money out of their pocket, which is a very little amount to them, and donate it to people who really need it. But first off, if you're new to this channel, this is basically a space where I oppose narratives that are like, we don't need feminism anymore, or colonialism got over once the global south got independent, and the like. Sometimes I do that by analyzing fiction like anime and seeing how these issues are depicted there. Sometimes I do that by commenting on real world politics. Other times I do that by commenting on celebrity controversies like this video. So it may seem like I don't have a niche, but this is my niche. This, fighting back against narratives like these, is my niche. So if you find my takes nice and if you find my videos enjoyable, please consider subscribing. It would mean a lot to me. Anyways, coming back to the video. So the Reddit post was about this widowed woman from the UK who was also pregnant. So during her pregnancy, her husband had gone to Thailand to learn Muay Thai as it was like a big dream of his, and the couple felt that, once a child comes, the husband may not get a chance. However, during his trip, the husband actually dies of food poisoning. So now the wife is newly widowed and pregnant. She obviously needs financial help, so she creates a GoFundMe. I then look at the comments of that Reddit post, and boy, there was this long discussion about how it's the husband's fault. Like, why didn't he take health insurance before going on his trip? These people, they never pay for their healthcare themselves. Then disaster strikes, then they create a GoFundMe link and have the rest of us pay for their healthcare. And guys, I was so shocked. We all have become too selfish. And this sentiment was reflected by a lot of people in that thread. And coming back to our Jamie boy, when he was talking about this woman's GoFundMe, he was also talking about it with such disgust. Because these people genuinely feel that taking out $5 out of your pocket is being robbed. And see, the thing about GoFundMes is that you donate as much as you're capable of donating. You don't really have to donate a big amount. The concept is that a lot of us collectively come together, donate a small amount, the aggregate becomes big enough to help the person in need. However, we as a society have come at this point where we see somebody who's homeless, a poor person who's wearing torn clothes, or these little kids who are strolling the streets who don't even get to go to school and they're begging for money. And they're never even begging for a big amount either. Like in a country like India, give them 10 rupees and they would stop bothering you. 10 rupees is not a big amount, but the instinctual reaction for most of us when we see these people begging is disgust, repulse, and anger. Why should I help them? I'm here earning my money while these people are just being lazy and begging. This perspective makes it seem like they're living a very comfortable and a very easy life. Guys, on most days, these people don't even get 2 proper meals that are nourishing enough, and a lot of them are homeless in a hot country like India where temperatures go beyond 45 degrees Celsius. And even if I have to talk about the widowed woman from the UK, she just lost her husband. She's obviously dealing with grief. She's pregnant, so she obviously can go to work. And she's obviously dealing with the stress on how to provide for her child. If you donate, it's not a lavish lifestyle that you are funding. And the problem that arises here is that we always make it an individual issue. Like, you know that famous quote by Bill Gates that if you're born poor, it's none of your fault. But if you die poor, it's definitely your fault. Exactly that. We always make it an issue about the person, that it's this person who refuses to work hard. It's this person that's lazy and that's why they're poor. It's their own fault. When surprise, surprise, it is not. Okay, have you ever wondered why poor people who are already struggling with money have more kids than a middle class person or a rich person? Like, the common sense here would say that have less kids so there are less mouths to feed. But the way poor people see it is have more kids so there are more hands to work the fields. The reason poor people are so short-sighted is because they don't really think of the long term. Because, brother, when even 2 proper meals are not guaranteed to you on most days, and when you don't have any kind of job security, like let's say a new technology emerges in the market and suddenly the industry has no need for manpower, it fires a lot of people together, and add on to it that you're also an unskilled labor, then brother, in that case, you don't really have the luxury of dreaming about future and having future goals. Now add on to it the lack of education. Then add on to it the societal bias of preferring a male child over a female child that's prominent in countries like India. So now, in this case, what ends up happening is that after 4 to 5 births of a female child is when a male child finally graces a poor family. And the reason the stigma is more prominent amongst them is, again, lack of education and awareness. Do you see how there are a lot of factors that are outside of poor people's control that's contributing to this poverty? But like, oh, if only they worked hard enough, they saved enough, they could afford education. So my house is getting renovated right now, and the labor that is constituted by these same poor people, the amount of effort they put in a single day, working in the scorching Indian heat in the face of these blaring heat waves, is more than the amount of effort I have ever, and more than the amount of effort I will ever put in my entire life combined. Nobody works harder than these people, yet their quality of life is way worse than mine. Also, India used to be a British colony. So what's the after effect of that? You need to know English to qualify for a lot of high-paying jobs. English is the language of bureaucracy here. You need to learn a language, a foreign language, whose vocabulary and grammar structure is completely different from your native tongue to qualify and avail these high-paying jobs. You know, even if you take away the India specific arguments out of my point, the crux still stands. Poor people are not poor because they refuse to work hard or work smart. They're poor because the system doesn't allow them to socially mobilize. What we need to start doing is we need to politicize it. What do I mean by that? We need to stop making it an issue about the individual, that it's this person who refuses to work and so they're poor, but recognize that the system we are currently functioning in has a lot of problems. And what is the system called that we're currently functioning in? I think it's called something like capitalism. Oh my gosh, another lefty. She's a freaking communist. Save capitalism. Stop. 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 You know, the funny thing about capitalism that uncovers its hypocrisy is that capitalism promised us to get rid of bureaucracy that was evident in other forms of government, like Leninism or Stalinism, but capitalism functions on that very bureaucracy. Okay, so what does bureaucracy even mean? In simple terms, bureaucracy means a large organization that takes care of large-scale projects, like a government. So, what capitalism offered us is a free market. That, as opposed to Soviet Union, where the government controls everything, it's not the people who control everything. People have their private property, they enter the market, they produce goods that are in demand by the consumers, they make profit, and that's it. No outside regulation, and it's the people now that have the freedom on how to organize their labor and resources. However, as Mark Fisher talked about in his book Capitalist Realism, bureaucracy has seeped so deeply into capitalism that now it's not a third outside party like a government doing it, but it's us, the workers, the employees that are doing it. How? By quantifying everything, by putting a numerical value on everything. Because the beauty of capitalism is that it quantifies things we earlier didn't think were possible. Like, how do you measure the quality of life of people living in a country? Capitalism said by their GDP. How do you measure a kid's holistic learning in school? Like how well they're learning a subject, how well they're understanding it. Capitalism said by the scores they get in their exams. Now, you and I both know that these are not adequate markers at all. GDP is not a good reflector of how rich and well a populace is doing in a country. Take my country, India, for example. It's one of the fastest growing economies in the world, and it ranks amongst the highest when it comes to GDP, at the same time supporting high poverty levels. I've met so many people in my life who score average to decent in examinations, but they're some of the smartest people I know. And a lot of people who are toppers, who top their grade, they're actually pretty dumb. Now, all schools have a numerical target that their average examination score should be 95% or something high to show the public that they're providing quality education. Even if the kids are not learning anything at all, even if they're just cramming and then puking the answers on their answer sheet during exams and they forget everything as soon as the tests are over, until the numbers are big and it seems that the kid is learning, that's fine. This is bureaucracy. Companies have set numerical targets that all their employees must achieve. Schools have set numerical targets that all their teachers must achieve. All these employees are expected to write a weekly work report or daily work report, the aims, objectives, the outcomes, mission statements, and then submitting all this data to the higher ups. Now, it is not an outside government that's doing this regulation, but it's us that's doing it. Capitalism promised us that we would have the individual freedom on how to organize our labor and resources, but when our bosses are putting these numerical targets on our heads that we must achieve to get a promotion or to be recognized as a productive member to the society, it's not really adding up. Now, I think I may have deviated a little bit, but the point that I want to make by emphasizing so much on numbers and like capitalism's nature on quantifying everything is that now it makes us see everything like it's a business. Everybody's judged based on how much they're able to produce, how much capital they have, the land, resources, machinery, what kind of networks do they have. And I think it's dangerous because it's ripping away from us our empathy and this attitude of looking out for each other. If I have to go back to our Jamie boy or the UK video Reddit story, I think it's crazy if taking out $5 or 1500 INR from our pocket is making us feel like we are robbed. Especially if that money goes to somebody who is in a very tough situation. Like, we have all developed this attitude of everyone must fend for themselves, and if they can't, then, it sucks for them. Remember when I said in the beginning of this video that it's giving that those who don't work shall not eat? Where now even your access to very basic amenities is dependent on how much of a productive member you are to the economy. And there's also a point in the video where Jamie Boy goes like, girl, if you were suffering from like a rare genetic disease that they have no cure for and the treatment is very expensive, he put an emphasis on I maybe would have considered donating. Do you guys see how cynical it is? Like, capitalism is now making us weigh our suffering against other people's. It's now pitting our suffering against other people's. And when Jamie Boy here makes a point that, he would have considered donating to a noble cause if it was dangerous enough, if it was rare enough, it is now capitalism putting a numerical value on your tragedy. This should sound crazy to you. All this hullabaloo was not just about Jamie Boy being entitled or being out of touch, because it's not just a him problem, it's a systemic problem. It's not just Jamie Boy who thinks like this. He was very vocal about it, which is why he's getting a lot of backlash, but all the rich people that you idolize also think like him. And it's the system that makes us think like this, because it has reduced our entire worth to how much we are willing to work, how much we are willing to produce. And before I end this video, I'll say this. I don't think billionaires need to exist. I don't mean that currently existing billionaires like Mark Zuckerberg or Bill Gates should be executed or, they should die. That's not what I'm saying. What I mean to say is that an XYZ person whose net worth is $1 billion shouldn't be the case. I don't think billionaires should exist, because you really don't need that much amount of money to live a good, quality, comfortable life. You really don't. And I know my vision may sound idealistic to you, but it's humane. Because imagine having the power to single-handedly solve world hunger and poverty, yet actively choosing not to. Now, that's dystopian.